I don't think anyone on YouTube or at the conferences where I speak has ever seen me dressed up. And actually, I thought, why not? I'm interviewing Una Verhoeven, who really enjoys dressing up, and she loves it when we all dress up. And I thought, why not? Let's make it a special one this time. And actually, I dress this way more often than you might think because I have fancy clients that appreciate you taking care of how you look. It also shows some respect. And you know what? I like to dress up anyway. So today I'm interviewing Una, who has an amazing story. She is Serbian, she moved to the Netherlands, she started her own company and then dismantled her own company in that same year and then joined Valtech as a global lead of Sitecore implementations. Currently we're working together on a challenging project and we became fast friends. We think alike, we work alike, good match, right? So I learned about her story and I decided immediately I need to interview this lady. So hereby the interview with Una Verhoeven. Welcome Una, thanks for joining. How are you?
Hi, thanks for having me. I'm doing good. How
Yes.
about you?
Yeah, staying inside. One of those days.
Yeah,
One
it's
of
one
those
of those.
weeks, maybe.
Yeah, and it's weekend, so I have my gin and tonic next to me to
Good.
keep me company.
Actually, I didn't get my whiskey, but we're good like this, I guess. So let's kick this off. So let me just look at my question real quick. So you're actually from Serbia, but you live in Rotterdam. So
Yeah.
what happened there? You want to tell the story?
I met a Dutch guy and I married a Dutch guy. So that is how I ended up in the Netherlands.
There you
I
go.
mean, originally back in Serbia, I used to work for a Dutch company already. And later on, I met now my husband. Let's say that the Netherlands was not my first choice when it comes to moving because of the language. Back then, I didn't know that everyone here speaks English. But yeah, it's basically met a husband, got married, ended up here.
And was it like plug and play, or did it take some time to get used to how people are in the Netherlands?
Actually, it took some time. I would say it took me 6 months to get out of the depression, if I can call it like that, because it's a one thing to come here and go as a tourist, and what you see and experience as a tourist is not the same as living here.
No.
So in the beginning, what you need to keep in mind is I came from a very chaotic system, and I came to over-organized system. So those are two complete extremes. And in the beginning, I found it very lonely. I had a perception of Dutch, après-ski, party time, meeting up, and then you come here and you realize that they're very family oriented, that they go home, that you don't have those party type style, that big people actually book things in their calendar, and you need to book, send an invite, and then you can arrange a meetup. Funnily enough, I now became even worse. My entire life is in a calendar, so I kind of assimilated, so to say. But in the beginning, I really, really found it very lonely and very depressing because, for example, if you're in Serbia and you're alone and you go out, you can end up with 20 people partying in the bar. You don't need to go out with someone. You will always find a person to chat with, to have a drink with. And here people go out in groups, already established groups. So you need to have someone who is going to bring you in. And especially because I didn't go to those expat meetups, I didn't have time for something like that. And it took me 6 months to change my mindset. Basically, nothing changed in the Netherlands or in Serbia. The change was within me because I was so focused in the beginning on the things that I missed that I was actually missing on the things which I was gaining.
Oh, yeah,
so
sure.
it was just that click, you're in the same position, but you're looking at it from a different angle. And the angle was, okay, what are the things that I was gaining? And I actually gained way more than what I lost.
You know what is super funny about this? It's so contextual because I am Dutch and I moved to France, right? So I moved away and I had exactly the same. When I am in Amsterdam, I go to any bar and I basically make friends. When I do this in France, I say the same thing you say. They're going groups, they know one another. So if I go into a group, nothing will work. So
and the fun thing is, I used to work in France and both time in Paris, and I absolutely loved it how social they are because every time I would go out, I would meet people.
I think we have different looks. But by
Yeah.
no, but this is so interesting how different it can be for different people. But for me, it also took about 6 months to feel at home, right?
Yeah, it takes time to adjust and also to realize what is allowed because, with all the different laws, regulations, you can't do all the things that you can do. For example, you can't buy a drink on the street, which for me
Mm.
was very odd.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
That it is banned for the last several years. So you will not see those party bikes like in Denmark.
Oh,
You
yeah,
can just buy
exactly.
alcohol. For
Yeah.
example, for a new year, you need to go to the store to buy it. Whereas, during the winter in Serbia, you have cooked wine, cooked rakia, and you can just get it. Those silly, simple things.
Yeah, like imagine that. I didn't even know that was possible. So we're so different like that, but that's cool.
Huh.
So we're gonna just jump to another subject because a lot of people know you from the work you do with Sitecore, and for some reason you are super famous in that world. Do you know how that happened? Did you want that to happen, or what is the story there?
I actually don't have the real answer, if I'm completely
Hmm.
honest. Basically, I ended up in a Sitecore field just by pure accident. We didn't have any more projects. I used to work back in the days with SDL Tridian, and basically managers told me, hey, I want to try Sitecore. And I was lucky enough to be in a company with a guy called Mark Dauker, and he
Okay.
was one of the co-founders of a Dutch user group for Sitecore.
Okay.
And he was always coming in and out and talking about organizing things, doing the talk, speaking, and this and that. And I just became curious and said, I want to come to see what it's all about. And I want to speak because I'm an extrovert. And for me, that was so much fun. I mean, my first talk was a disaster, if I'm completely
I
honest.
remember mine. It's how it
Yeah,
goes.
so bad. But I like meeting people. For me, it was more about creating the network and the connection. I entered in it without any expectations. And what actually got out of it are some very, very close friends that I have now.
Okay, so it doesn't
So,
matter if it's Sitecore or not. It's just whatever came on your path.
yeah, it was just pure accident. And then what I've done, I wanted to do more user groups. I wanted to meet more people. Plus, I like to travel. So I used to do the combinations that I would fly in for a day. So I would just arrive before the user group starts. I would do the talk part in the evening and take the first flight back in the morning. So that is how I ended up in Bulgaria, in Poland, Denmark several times as well. For me, I just like doing it and basically blogging. I also met some fantastic people who are the organizers of the European conference. And then the more you meet people, the more you realize how many things can be done. So many people organize so many things like hackathon. Now we're actually going to have the global Sukun virtual group because unfortunately we had to cancel the European conference due to the situation with the corona. But of course, it's important that everyone stays healthy. But basically, I don't have real answer. And also, what is to be famous? Some people have read my blog posts. Some people know me from Twitter. Some from Slack. It's a bit all over the place. But I just like helping people out,
All right.
honestly.
So you once told me the story that you actually, before we started working together, that you had your own company.
Yeah.
Can you explain what it was like to start one and then see the fast success, and then what happened after?
It was liberating, and it was one of those things when you find the right people who click with the same mindset, with the same idea, and it just felt right. And especially for me, I would say, on a cross path of my career. Basically, I hit a wall. I
Mm.
got stuck because I wanted to move more towards the business. I'm a techie by nature. I've been programming since I was 8, or maybe even before that. My first computer was Spectrum, if you even remember it.
Yeah,
That was
I
after
don't
Commodore.
actually.
It was after Commodore.
Oh, it was
Uh,
okay. So I had a Commodore. I remember this.
yeah, I didn't have that one. I had Spectrum, and I first learned to type, and then I learned to write.
Wow.
And you reach a point in your career that you go, junior, mid, senior, you become an architect, consultant, you do all these kind of things. But my personality is more on the business side. And I enjoy more communicating with people, which is quite funny because I started dealing with the computers because I liked to be in my own little world and not to deal with the rest of the world. And now things have shifted. And I felt that what I wanted to do was not possible to do within not just the company where I was at. They were perfectly fine and, great company. But there was no click, and I realized that if I want to search for a job, what I wanted was not the position for which I officially had a title or the official experience with the title.
So was this because you weren't allowed to do the stuff you wanted to try out, or were you just too good for the group? You were too fast, or what was it?
One of the remarks actually I got several times is, and that was not a compliment, by the way, that I am too fast.
Okay.
And then I would get my arrogant reply, because sometimes I don't know when to keep my mouth shut. It's not my fault that the rest is slow.
But are they saying this because I've seen this before where men say to women, you're too fast, or you really want to move too fast. Was it like a bias kind of thing, or you didn't experience it that way?
I'm not sure, was it a bias thing? I'm going to admit, I'm not an easy person to deal with or to handle. I'm I wouldn't say particularly stubborn, but I'm a doer. I want to get things done. And if I get a no as an answer, just because, I need an explanation. So as long as you give me the arguments, it's fine. But if you tell me no just for the sake of a no, then that's really not going to cut it. But if we talk about the bias, of course, throughout my career, I experienced it, but I would say the older I am, the less I care. I actually don't care about it at all. And I learned how to turn it into my advantage. Now it doesn't happen much as often. It really depends with which cultures you work with. Okay. You have certain cultures that are just not used to work with women, however weird that sounds, especially if they're above them. But in general, I would say in the last several years, it's been fine. There have been any particular issues, and if there are, I'm just going to cut it the moment they start. I'm not going to allow it to escalate because I feel confident enough in my own skin. I've been in this field for too long already. I'm one of the dinosaurs. That's how sometimes I feel. Yeah. But to go back to the company part, so that was one of the reasons why it was started. I wanted to try something new and basically to be responsible to make decisions consciously. And, if things go wrong, it was the conscious decision, not because someone told me to do something. And, we were lucky with the contracts. I had a fantastic business partner, and it was sometimes spooky how we were thinking alike. But also what happened was there was a shift in the market. And one thing that we agreed upon was that we would not outsource ourselves, because you have plenty of companies who do that, and it's something that we don't like to do. It's not part of who we are, and because of the shift in the market that has happened, we realized due to the finances, it's better to close it down than to continue and not know what will happen in the future. But it has been an absolute tremendous experience, because I was not even aware of what I need to know. You enter in it with certain assumptions, and then you realize all of a sudden there is so many things to deal with that you didn't even think of. Yeah. I learned hellishly within the last year just by doing that. And that is actually helping me to do my job better now, because I was in a position not just to be the hands-on, but on the business side. So I can look at the things now from both views. I can look at it from a delivery view, from the team side. I can also look at it from the business view.
All right. So I have a funny question now. Let's jump a bit, because never ever have I worn a suit on a YouTube video. And I know that you like people to dress up. Look at yourself. You're looking great right now. Same for me.
You're looking dapper.
Dapper, that's a good word. So tell me why you think it's so important that people dress up. And why don't you like my hat?
Okay, seriously. Who wears a baseball cap inside? Come on. If you would be playing sport, I can understand. But inside, I'm not saying that you need to wear a fedora hat, but come on, baseball cap? Seriously? I don't know, my head gets sweaty just by thinking of it. But joking aside, it's not that I enforce it.
Of course not.
I never say to people how they should dress up. Obviously, you should feel comfortable in what you're wearing and to have your own personality. But I also think that you should dress up for the role you do, and also for the company you work for, or even if it's a client or a partner, it doesn't matter. I know it's something that most developers hate. You know, everyone wants to, you know, be in a t-shirt, be very relaxed. I mean, that's all fine. But when you come to a meeting, show respect to the people who actually came there. And it's not the same, of course. It depends in which role you are, what type of meetings you have. But I witnessed situations where people would come in shorts and flip-flops. And sorry, but that's a big fat no for me.
But you realize you just explained yourself why I'm wearing this hat, right? Because know your audience, know who is in front of you and what your role is, right? So you basically explained why I do it.
I know, and I have to admit that, you know, before I also switched to sneakers, jeans, and t-shirts, because I remember, I think it was one of my first user groups that came, and I actually came from the client. And it was so ridiculous because everyone assumed that I was a recruiter.
Oh, because you dressed up?
I was dressed up. I came in with a shirt, blazer, skirt, high heels, you know, the entire theater, but you know, that is not how people actually come to developers communities. And you know, I would have to say that I switched to that just to, in a way, to be accepted, and also it's far easier to run in sneakers than in high heels.
I can imagine.
If you ever go to the conference, you know, you walk so much that there would be no way in hell that I would be able to walk that long. But it's really, you know, and especially with the work that you and I do, the type of job, we have so many client meetings, unfortunately not now, but, you know, flip-flops, you have to admit it's a bit too much.
Oh, no, I get that. And also, people don't realize this, but what I'm wearing now, I wear way more often than people see me on the outside, because you curate kind of what goes on Twitter, for example. But most of the meetings I have to do with our clients that are global, I wear this kind of stuff. So it's just how you see it. So now, go on.
For me, it was a big impact had my first project when I was sent abroad to work. And I was completely clueless. You know, it was my first paid job, 2 months in, and I was sent to Paris at all places. And I arrived, I was still in my partial goth phase, you know, Martin boots, black, and I had 5 different colors in my hair. You know, almost rainbow hair, everything was there. And I arrived to the corporate office with Parisian chic. I felt like a complete and utter moron. And it was not that, you know, it's not about the individuality. I felt so that I'm disrespecting people who are there. And I know that a lot of people can disagree with me that we all should have our own individuality. And I agree, we should, but it needs to be balanced out.
Sure. So
I was still keeping hair though.
Yeah, sure. Now, I think it should work if you come from a creative field or something like this. But this is a nice bridge to the next one, because from things you do wrong sometimes, or things you think might be failures, you can actually learn a lot, right? So, of course, when I look at your profile, now that we work together, I actually looked into it, and everything you do seems to be great. But there must be some stuff that you didn't do so well, and that taught you to do really well right now. Do you have some examples of this?
Well, those are very kind words. Thank you. And we are a great team.
Yeah, it does work. We were fast friends. That was cool.
Yes, very fast friends.
Yeah, first meeting we were good.
Yeah. I wouldn't say that I have a particular example, because it also depends how you define a failure.
Sure.
You know, what is the definition of failure? And unfortunately, I'm one of those, unfortunately for myself, I'm one of those people who has to learn by its own example. So I had to hit my head on the wall or through the wall, depends how which situation I am. But as long as I learn something out of it, whether positive or negative, I look at it as a successful failure. So I wouldn't say that it is a failure as a definition of, you know, everything failed.
Well, maybe consider it like a challenging time that changed you, something like that. Like that's why this question is so hard, because people don't want to hear the word failure, but that's not what it is, right?
You know, a lot of it had to do also with my personality and to adapt to a situation. So you're going to laugh because you already got to know me a bit since we were working together, but I was way more black and white before and way more direct than I am now.
You say that you're not now? I love this.
No,
you basically
to how I
just
now,
sorry, go on.
Compared to how I was now, I have mellowed down.
Okay.
I have truly mellowed down. I would say that it was more it's part of growing up. I would say, you know, when you're in your early 20s, and for the record, I'm permanent 28, I stick with it for the rest of my life.
Perfect age.
Yes, perfect age. When you're in your early 20s, you know, you think that you have all the knowledge of the world, you know, you're so full of power, or I don't know, you're driven by the energy or by the success. And I think the biggest lesson that I had to learn is when to stop. And it's still something that I balance and I struggle sometimes, is to know not when to say no, but I have a tendency to do too much. In a sense, I'm a workaholic. I don't have 9 to 5 type of working. I just go till it's done. I'm all in. And you know, when you're in that kind of position, you can't look in all the things objectively. If you have too many things in your mind, you need to consult with other people, but then you're more prone to errors. So I would say learning to recognize my flaws as a person, and all the parts where I have failed, you know, who hasn't broke a production? I mean, let's not call it failure from that perspective, but I think that for me, it was more not in a sense of the word failure, but more learning who am I as a person and where I'm making mistakes in handling the people.
Oh yeah, the people. That's the most important part, right?
Exactly. You know, we need to accept that even though, you know, we're techies, we work with the technologies, we do all this cool stuff, at the end of the day, we work with people.
Yeah.
And that's the lesson that took me quite a while to learn it, and also to accept that people are different. And we need to take into consideration what people are going through. You know, someone can have a bad day because something privately has happened, and we have no idea. We just don't know what is happening. And I mean, if someone wants to share it, it's perfectly fine. But, you know, it's more of being aware of that some people might go through something at the current time, and not just go into, you need to do this, you need to do that.
So based on all this, do you have like some sort of motto that you go by? Like imagine you had like a big billboard that you can put on the highway that everybody sees. Is there something that you can distill all your learnings from and put on that? Like a message to the people, let's say?
The message that kind of occurs to me at the moment, which is not applicable in this situation, you will realize why, would be get off your screen and get out.
Okay.
Sure.
So that's the opposite of what we do, basically.
Yes, it's completely opposite of what we are doing at the moment, and having all the virtual drinks and sitting at home. But what I'm hoping that we might end up after this disaster, and unfortunately, and especially for the people who have been impacted by it, is that we are actually going to learn to appreciate what is around us. You know, we're so focused on, you know, even if I go, you know, I commute to work every day until we were sent to work from home. You know, I change 6 transportations. I commute between Rotterdam and Utrecht.
Yeah.
But you know, everyone is in their screens, and I'm going especially nuts now with, you know, the Bluetooth headphones, which you can't see, and then you are trying to move the people, they don't hear you because they're listening to something. I feel that we have become so disconnected from everything, and you know, to actually wake up, we need to lose something. And I think we should just spend more time as people, because at the end of the day, every job that we do, it doesn't matter which technology it is and which field it is, we work with people.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think people come first and then we do the rest. One last fun question. So you are like a total conference goer, you speak at them, you organize them. And I know that every conference gives you stickers. What do you do with those stickers?
I have a different laptop, which is my personal one. This one, that one is stuffed with stickers. But I have to admit that in the last 2 years, I haven't put a single sticker on it.
Okay, and this is
I,
because the aesthetic, or you just have so many stickers, you don't care anymore?
I
Or?
just, I, it's not a thing for me anymore. I don't know why. It was always fun, to get some memorabilia. But at one moment, I actually realized that I had several bags of memorabilia, and it was just, standing in a closet in a bag, and I had no idea what to do with it. So actually, nowadays, I don't take anything from the conference because at the end of the day, I know I'm not going to use it; it's just going to collect
No,
the
you don't
dust.
need more stuff, right?
I'm a minimalist
Mm,
in general, so everything that we have here in the house, if it doesn't have a purpose, it's out,
nice.
including out and the furniture wise, because I just don't want to deal with it.
Okay, cool. And I guess you deal with projects the same way too, right?
Yes,
Good.
keep it simple.
Exactly. Listen, I don't want to make this one too long.
Mhm.
So thank you very much. I think it's super cool that you came to speak to me today. And I think we had a lot of insight. So thanks again. This is great.
And thanks for having me. And now you can get out of your suit. Be free.
I will be free. Thanks.